Let me show you how to set up your Revit project. So we should be right here. You just clicked setting up Revit. What I want you to do first is you're going to have to add all of the Revit files into your Google Drive. So we're going to click English Imperial Library, and then at the top, you are going to right click English Imperial, go to organize, and then add a shortcut. And you're going to add a shortcut to your Revit projects folder or your civil folder, somewhere that you have created for civil. Usually I recommend people do it in the Revit projects folder. This will only work if you are signed in. So make sure that you are signed in first. If you're not, this isn't going to work. So please go ahead and do that first. And then when you're done with that, you can come back to this video. So pause this if you need to. All right, now that we have created that, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to open up Revit and we're going to start a new file. So double click Revit on your desktop and let that load. It's really dark in this room. All right, so Revit has loaded. Now we're going to go over to where it says new under the models here. I'm going to click new. And I need to browse to my Google Drive. Well, the only way that works is if your Google Drive is linked up, and I'm guessing yours probably isn't yet. So let's click the X. We're going to close that out, and we're going to go down in here into the little Windows Start icon, and we're going to scroll down to Google Drive. I want you to click Google Drive and go through all of the prompts to get Google Drive set up. You might even say that it's restricted and you need to click, just close that up. A bunch of prompts are going to come up. Just skip through all of it. So eventually Google Drive is going to be synced. So here's my Google Drive. You can see I have a civil folder. I have all these things in here. So now once that's done, you can close it up. You can go back to Revit. Now we go new, and under new project, click browse. And now you need to click this window and we're going to go into Google Drive. So open up your Google Drive here, go to My Drive, go to your civil folder, go to wherever you have yours. I believe mine is in my Revit projects. And I have English Imperial right here. So I'm going to open up English Imperial. Now in your English Imperial library, there is something down called templates. I want you to find templates. It should be alphabetical. Open up templates. Your list might look a little different than this, but right now we're going to choose the default. So don't worry if you have more or less items in here. Let's look for the default option here. I'm going to click default, click open. And now that template file is selected, and then I hit OK. And it's opened up the default for me right here. So I want to show you a couple things and then we're going to get you started. First, over here on the left-hand side, it says level 1. That is the current level. That's like the ground level. If you double click level 2 rapidly, it takes you to level 2. If you click it too slow and then you click it a second time, you see it just highlights it. It wants you to rename it. Don't want to do that. You have to double click fast. So speedy fingers. Once you've selected and opened a level, you can see they actually show up here. So you can just select them up here at that point. It makes it a little bit easier. The other thing you're going to want to do is close up ceiling plan. So I'm going to minimize ceiling plan. You really never want to be in your ceiling plan. So we're going to close that up front so we don't have to worry about that. And then a third thing, because this is going to show up in a further video that will make it a little easier. If you click the View tab at the top and you go to Thin Lines, we want to turn Thin Lines on. So it's highlighted. That means Thin Lines is on. And then I want to go down here and select Detail Level. And I want my detail level to be fine. I want to see fine details in this. So that's all you're going to do to set this up. We can go back to the Architecture tab in the top left. So you notice we went to the View tab and then the Architecture tab. You're going to be in the Architecture tab for most of it. If I show you door, you can see there's a door that is already preloaded. That is one of the things you're going to use when you get to the doors video. So keep that in mind. You don't need to load doors. I might do that in the video. I might not, but there's already doors preloaded. You can just use these, make it simple. So back to the Architecture tab. That's where you use a lot of things, walls, doors, windows, etc. At this point, I want you to go to File, Save As, and we're going to save as a project. And now you need to go back to your Google Drive and you need to go to your civil engineering folder and then your Revit projects. And you can see I have a bunch of other projects in here and some subfolders. You probably will have nothing because you've just started. You should name this thing Shed and then your name. So, or Brian Shed or Thomas Shed or whatever, something like that. Don't just call it Shed Project. Name it with your name. Then you're going to save that thing. And then I want you to go to your Google Drive, and this is how you double check and make sure it's there. I'm going to go into my Google Drive, My Drive. I'm going to go to Civil. I'm going to go to Revit Projects, And then I better see that in there. And if I don't see that in there, then we have a problem. And so far, I'm not seeing Brian Shed. It should show up here any minute once I have saved that thing. There it is, shed Brian. Sometimes it takes a second. So that's my shed. As long as I see that file in there, .rvt, I know it is actually in my Google Drive. You got to make sure that you're doing that. At this point, we are done. Then you can move on to the next thing where you get to draw and edit walls. Have fun.